This video is entirely my own opinion, but before we continue, I feel the need to reiterate that. My words are my own. My opinion is my own. And my own opinion is—
Never buy no weed from the gas station.
This video genuinely sucks. Oh my god, this it genuinely sucks. Holy shit! Okay, oh my god, this video, I literally have no words. I have 0 words for this. This just ultimately sucks. His points are bad, his takes are bad, he barely plays the game. Oh my god, this is I'm glad that this guy's getting clowned on Twitter. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't want harassment, no. I'm just saying that this guy deserves to get clowned on because his takes are so bad. I do believe that the reason that he has such bad takes mainly just stems from him not playing the games long enough. Yeah, no, he barely plays the games that he talks about. Just play the games more. It's not that hard to do, honestly. I feel like you would have a better review if you just played the games longer. But hey, that's just me. The ones I want to mostly talk about are just the ones that I have pretty good experiences with, like Forsaken, Pillar Chase, Die of Death, Outcome Memories, Pwn. Well, okay, those two he doesn't even talk about. I'm not even kidding either. Games like Break-In and Steal Things and Doomed by Fate are games that I don't have much playtime with, so there's nothing much I can really say about them, but I will bring them up because there's some points in those sections of his video that are annoying the shit out of me. Rambling out of the way, let's just get this done and over with, cause oh my god, I hate this video so much.
I fucking despise this game. The gameplay loop is just Dead by Daylight, but worse.
As someone who doesn't have much hours on the game, I really don't see what he means by those. I legitimately don't. How are these two games similar? The only things that I see similar is just the fact that they have gens. That's entirely it.
Every map has around 5 generators for you to complete, featuring a recreation of the iconic Flow Free app. The issue is, doing it doesn't matter.
Actually, doing the gens do matter. Not only can they shorten the time to make matches go by quicker, but they can actually give you malice. You know, the thing that allows you to be the killer. But of course you don't know that since you basically barely played the game.
If you go out of your way to do the objective, it doesn't unlock a win condition. The only reason there would or should be a goal in a game like Forsaken. Completing a task on a generator lowers the time of the round by a small amount, give or take a few seconds. And that's fine, I guess. Dead by Daylight still does it better, but it's better than nothing.
I really hope this isn't just him glazing Dead by Daylight because it does something better. Just because the gens in Forsaken don't give you a win condition doesn't mean that they're entirely useless. Again, they make the time shorter, and it gives you malice in order for you to become the killer.
But it's only fine in concept. In practice, it doesn't do much when the killer adds time back to the round by doing their job and killing everyone.
Well, that's the point. The point is that the killer adds more time back than what was taken away when doing the gens. If it was the other way around, then rounds just wouldn't exist. The killer would not be able to win.
The objective technically does something, but within the game, it's utterly pointless. The generators are an illusion of a goal. And due to it being a mirage, most people don't bother engaging with the system in any way.
What do you mean by this? Genuinely, how is it a mirage? The only reason people don't do the gens is because you don't see survivalists doing them, because you barely see survivalists in general. And most of the time, players want to try to help the team, so you mostly see sentinels or supports. It makes sense why no one does them.
Instead, their time is spent infinitely looping the killer or doing TikTok dances in the corner of the map.
I don't see people doing TikTok dances. I think that's just a you problem, buddy.
Forsaken's identity is very disjointed. It's trying to be its own thing, yet relies on old Roblox as the base for everything gameplay-wise. The roster of this game is either based off of old Roblox properties or are my awesome cool OC that everyone loves. Said OCs just happen to have more complicated movesets or are fucking terrible to play against.
I could definitely see what he's talking about here. It feels like the OC characters do have a bit of like a busted moveset, especially Veronica, but I mean, other than that, I still think that the characters that aren't OCs are still pretty good in their own right. You just need to play them better, I feel like.
In the same cast, you have characters like Shedletsky, who has access to a sword with a very small hitbox, and Chicken that can be used twice that heals up to 40 HP. Or Elliot, who has a pizza and a speed boost. But then you have characters like Two Time.
He starts rambling about how Two Time feels a bit unfair and blah blah blah. It's the same thing over and over again that you've heard like a million fucking times by now. I'm not even gonna let him continue ranting about Two Time because it's just a broken record at this point.
The designs of certain characters were changed in an attempt to make them more unique or scarier, but in practice look like they were drawn by a 12-year-old on Tumblr. These are supposed to be the same character.
Yeah, and there's a thing called a retake on a character. Do we not know what retakes are? Do we not know what adaptations are? Oh my god, I'm so tired of hearing people complain about Sixer's design. Sixer looks like an actual demon now, not just some guest.exe character. Jesus Christ. But I guess we have to go off of what Papo says because he's such a smart gamer.
The maps are references to older Roblox games save for 2, and those 2 just happen to be some of the worst maps in the game. It's pretty cool that everything original tends to either fall flat or be busted beyond recognition. Really neat stuff there.
Or you could just have a big old skill issue, but hey, I guess that's just me.
It's fine though, because you don't play Forsaken because you like the game.
Can we stop talking about the community every time we want to review this game? Oh my god, broken record after broken record, I swear to god. I get it, the Forsaken community isn't the best. I think we all get it at this point. No one likes the game's community. But that doesn't mean that we have to keep on dragging it every time we talk about this game. I think there could be one review where we just don't talk about the community. Cause holy shit, it's just repetitive at this point. Super repetitive. Since he's mostly just gonna be talking about the community and the developers and how he hates them, he also brings up the amount of reference skins there are in the game, and I honestly just have no room to talk about it, cause honestly, I personally don't care. I enjoy the skins, but I get it. The skins, the amount of skins that are in the game, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I think I'm just gonna move on to Pillar Chase 2, and boy, I have some things to say when he talks about Pillar Chase 2.
What do you even say about Pillar Chase 2? I'm being serious. What do you say about this game?
It's a pretty fun game.
It was the blueprint for a majority of today's asymmetrical horror games, which isn't a good thing. If the base isn't good, what comes after won't be any better.
Yeah, at least you're not saying that Pillar Chase was inspired by Dead by Daylight. But there are a lot of games that are coming out that are inspired by Pillar Chase. Are you gonna call them bad? Just because they're inspired by Pillar Chase 2?
Pillar Chase 2 is either absurd bullshit or abysmal dog shit with no in between. It's heavily killer-sided.
You call Pillar Chase 2 killer-sided? Nah, say you're lying. Say you're lying. Oh my god. Best statement I've heard all day. This is peak cinema. Oh, sorry. I think we got a comedian in here. No, I seriously think we have a comedian in here. 10 out of 10 jokes.
The fun of the game comes from being a big, strong monster that can do as it pleases, ripping people apart for its own enjoyment. But you could also be Valem. Don't be Valem.
Nah, fuck you, here's some Valem. If you liked my very epic Valem gameplay, make sure to check it out when I make a gold compilation, which is never! Still crazy to me that you call Pillar Chase 2 monster-sided or killer-sided, when the game is clearly survivor-sided, with the game giving these survivors so many options to survive against the monsters. Like, it's insane the amount of stuff you're given to survive against these monsters. Like, yes, it may seem that way at first, but once you get the hang of how the game works and how the monsters are played, it clearly shows how survivor-sided the game is.
To be as blunt as possible, people like Pillar Chase 2 because they get to play as a character they like and have a power trip. That's it. There's no skill required.
You're saying this when you don't even have every single monster unlocked. The only one that I'm seeing is Forest King and Valem. How about next time you buy every single monster before you make a review? Later, Papo. No, but this deadass feels like that one Pillar Chase review video all over again.
If you're playing one of the good killers, just spam abilities until you win.
Actually, no, you can't do that. If you just spam your abilities, that's not how you win. You do realize that you have to play the monsters correctly in order to win. And you could clearly see from that Forest King clip that he knows how to play as Forest King with that one ability, but he still says to just spam abilities until you win. What? You do realize that each monster has different playstyles, to which you need to use effectively in order to win. It's not just spam abilities to galore. You have to use your abilities efficiently in order to win. That's how every single monster in this game works, and to be fair, that's how every single killer in each game works. Do we not know this? How do you not know this? You're making the video, you're playing the games. How do you not know this?
And if you play a character like Valem, you go to hell before you die.
What the fuck did Valem even do to you, bro? You're acting like he burnt down your entire house.
I don't think actual fans of the Survivor gameplay exist. I refuse to believe otherwise. The game makes you feel like a protagonist in a horror movie, but much like a typical slasher film, unless the plot demands it, you won't stand a chance.
It mostly depends on the map you're on and what kind of monster you're up against, and also the type of player you're up against as well, because if it's a competent killer, well, you don't have much of a chance unless it's on a map that's weak against those killers.
The only real way to survive a round is by sitting in the corner of a map and doing nothing. But even then, it probably won't work, because most of the killers have an indicator that lets them see you from across the map.
That's not how that works most of the time. Every monster has a different way of tracking players. Like with Forest King, if his lurking facade is near a survivor, it will show that survivor to the person that's playing Forest King. That's the only way Forest King is able to track people. Valem's tracking only works if a player walks up to one of Valem's clones. You know, the one that will spawn when you go invisible. That's the only time Valem's tracking works. Those two monster examples are only there because those are the only two monsters you have unlocked. MX's tracker works if he kills a survivor. Niloticus's tracker only works if a survivor is radiated via Godly Leap or if a survivor walks into Niloticus's puddle. Each monster has a different tracking, and it's not just a one-click button to show where the survivors are. It's not that easy. And again, those other two monsters as examples I gave because you don't have those monsters. You would have known if you had those monsters. To be fair, you would have known if you had every single monster in the game, but you don't. And yes, I'm gonna keep dragging this like the low taper fade meme.
And with the hitboxes pretty much being non-existent, if you get into a chase, don't bother trying to loop the killer. You will die no matter what. Survivors are given abilities you can buy, so there's technically something you can do even if you aren't the killer, but in practice it doesn't matter because the end is always the same. The game is simply not fun if you're not the broken character of the round.
Him mentioning that there's nothing you can do with the looping, there is stuff you can do with the looping. There unironically is. I don't know what he's talking about, and the clips that he shows is clearly from moments where it's his fault for dying. And him saying that the perks don't do anything is such a big fat lie. Because the perks literally give you advantages during a match that it feels so dumb that they're even in this game to begin with. It's almost similar to like how perks in Dead by Daylight work, where if you have the right perks, you're like unkillable basically. I'm only bringing up Dead by Daylight because he says that Dead by Daylight does things better than most of these games, which is stupid, but whatever.
I still don't know what happened.
I can explain what happened. I believe everyone that's made a video on this has explained what happened. Would I sound like a broken record if I were to explain what happened? Maybe. But I don't care. So you cornered yourself while Whist was in frenzy. When you saw Whist, you basically ran into Whist trying to escape when they were using Gobble Bomb, in which during the frenzy phase, Whist will spit out 3 Gobble Bombs instead of 2. One of the bombs hit you, and you got hit by 2 M1s. That's what happened. It's really not that hard to understand what happened.
The models look nice. Objectively, the game has polish to it, but correct me if I'm wrong in believing that Pillar Chase 2 just looks like a shitty Unity project.
Correcting you, you are wrong, buddy.
I feel like I could find various Fusion Z Gamer uploads of this game made in 2018 connected to a dead GameJolt account. It has that specific vibe to it. Objectives exist as an avenue to give you coins so you can buy different killers, and that's it.
It also gives you killer chance. It's the same thing with Forsaken. Doing your objectives and your tasks gives you monster chance. Again, how do you not know this?
Most of the tasks, mind you, featuring the unique gameplay feature of either clicking something or holding E for a few seconds. It's the most mind-numbing shit possible.
You know, this is one of the few times I'm honestly gonna agree with Papo. The objectives in Pillar Chase honestly do feel extremely boring to do, and I can't really blame him for saying that. But once you get used to it, it's really not that hard to do, and it allows you to be able to get your tasks done quickly and reduce the time as well, I guess.
I feel like people only like this game for one of 2 reasons. Either A, an appreciation for it being one of the first. It was the blueprint. Everything that came after can look to this as a source for why it exists. You do have to give it its flowers for doing something most people weren't. Or B, they have the funds to guarantee their spy is a killer.
Who would even buy their killer chance? If you buy your killer chance, you're a big loser. I hope you know that.
I mean, why else would they be redesigning 3 of the killers to avoid copyright?
That's not even the main reason why they're doing this to begin with. It actually isn't. This is basic research to do. If you had done basic research, you'd realize that that's not the reason why. The reasons why is because of Project Kaiju and Sonic.exe The Disasters. That's it. Can I also point out too that he never brings up Recode at all? He brings up the redesigns that are meant for Recode, but not Recode itself. I know he's remaking the video and plans on including Pillar Chase Recode, but he just never brings it up at all. Like, not a single ounce of Recode in this video. The only ounce of Recode you get is just the redesigns from Tinky Winky, PCX, and Springtrap. That's it. Clearly, I got a little personal with this section of the video because I have the most amount of hours on Pillar Chase. So with the amount of hours I have on Pillar Chase, it shows that I have some form of biasy to it. Do I think Pillar Chase is a perfect game? No, but do I think Papo was a bit harsh on it? Yes. Yes, I do. He was way too harsh on the game, I believe, and I think if he had reviewed the game a little better, he could have had a different opinion, but yeah, no, he was a little too harsh on it. Let's just move on to Doom by Fate, which is the next game he talks about. I'm just gonna do y'all a favor and like skip a good portion of this video. He basically just rants that Doom by Fate has like 2 identities that just don't combine well and whatever. He just complains that Project Moon games and all that are just referenced too much in Roblox media nowadays, and I just don't care all that much about it. I'm just skipping to when he actually talks about the game itself and not Project Moon. You're welcome.
The game as a whole feels very rushed.
Fast-paced ASIM, what do you expect?
which I don't understand how that could happen, considering it's a free game for child age 2 or some. The gameplay is the exact same as Forsaken, but faster.
Literally what I just said. Literally what I just said.
And with even less of a reason to do the objective.
It gives you malice as well. It's just like Forsaken.
The game is supposed to be focused on directly fighting the killer, but because of the speed at play, the hitboxes feel non-existent.
Probably just Wi-Fi issue. I would check that out if I were you.
I've had moments where I've been out of a hitbox and still hit, or I blocked an attack only to still take damage.
Probably just a Roblox thing. It happens a lot with Roblox.
The speed makes it feel like there's more going on, but at the cost of functional gameplay.
Fast-paced ASIMs might not just be for you, and that's fine.
I do think the abilities survivors have are really cool. I like how everyone has their own place with subcategories in each spot. Bacon Hair is self-sufficient. He has a quick stun, a heal, and a recon tool.
In terms of starter characters, I feel like Doom by Fate has better starter characters than any other ASIM that I've played. Probably even better than Forsaken, but that's up to debate.
Jane Doe is a healer with a stun if needed.
I also wanted to point out that Bacon Hair and Jane Doe do not have stuns. Those are not stuns. They just slow the killer down. That's it. Bacon Hair blinds the killer for a bit, and Jane Doe just makes the killer stop sprinting for a bit. They're not stuns.
Soldier has an infinite block if you can hit it properly.
It's not infinite, unless you're talking about the cooldowns, but that's it. It just removes the cooldowns. It basically makes it so that if you land your block, you don't have a cooldown. It's not infinite, it just doesn't give you the cooldown. But if you want to count it as infinite, then sure, count it as infinite.
And a shotgun. The Jester is a zoner that slows the killer with their traps. Despite the quality of the game, it's unique. Which is what I thought, until I found out the shotgun is the exact same as a weapon in a different game.
Papo, Break In and Steal Things did not invent shotguns. What are we on?
And the Jester's abilities are an exact 1-to-1 of a killer from Die of Death.
Last time I checked, I do not remember Artful throwing a banana at you. In fact, if I remember correctly, I thought he hates bananas.
The one thing I can compliment this game on is taken from somewhere else. I keep comparing Doom by Fate to Forsaken because its core identity is the same game.
I guess I can see that, but I don't know. I'm gonna have this structured similarly to Doom by Fate, with barely any gameplay at all and just me being nitpicky about the things he talks about. I skipped Pwned on purpose because I want to talk about that later in the video, as he basically barely talks about it. But there is one thing that he says in Pwned that makes me so confused with the point that he's gonna make in Break In and Steal Things, so I'll bring that up whenever I talk about Pwned.
Break In and Steal Things is a game with all style and no gameplay. That doesn't mean its art direction is good, but it's better than most. It has a style and it sticks to it. The UI elements are reminiscent of old Roblox and function like they should. And personally, I adore that the game is in 4:3. I'm a sucker for aspect ratios.
Keep this in mind for when I bring up Pwn and talk about it. Keep this in mind.
My issue with this game is that there is no game. Bias is centered around following a set of instructions to collect a random artifact on the map. Once the artifact is collected, the round shortens to 2 minutes and you win. Even if you lose, you win, because you still completed the objective.
It's one of the things that I honestly like about Break In and Steal Things. It doesn't focus on the killer versus survivor aspect, but more focuses on the fact that the killer needs to keep the artifact, like, away from the survivors, and I like that. That's one of the things that I like about Break In and Steal Things.
And that's it. You find the item, collect the item, and wait for the round to end. The issue is, this game isn't meant to be a stealth game where you successfully extract a national treasure. It's meant to be another asymmetrical horror game.
A unique one in my opinion, but yeah, so asymmetrical.
So, there's a killer, but it doesn't play like an ASIM, so it makes the killer feel like it's here out of obligation.
No, I feel like this game is more of like a Hello Neighbor-esque game in my opinion. Like, it gives me Hello Neighbor vibes now that I'm looking at it.
Not because it's a horror game. It makes its identity skewed. Also, I'm lying, the game doesn't stick to its style. It follows the tried and true. Add emotes referencing anything popular from the last 10 years, despite the fact the game is based on a version of Roblox in the early 2000s blueprint, that everyone does for some reason.
Dude, I hate it when people talk about emotes when it comes to identity. Like, I don't think it really matters. I think gameplay matters more than fucking emotes, dude. Grow up.
This game isn't the first to do it, but it's still a part of the problem. Instead of having survivors with different abilities, Bias gives everyone the same moveset, but places random items around the map that do different things. One person can find a bottle of Bloxade that gives them a speed boost for a short time, while another can find a shotgun that can be used to periodically stun the killer. It makes every round have an element of randomness, where people have to scrounge around for resources, while both retrieving the artifact and avoiding the killer. But this only works in concept if there are people present.
Agreed, but it's fun either way.
Biased only works as a game if there are a large amount of people playing. There's only one objective, so if there aren't people around to distract the killer, they can just stand on the artifact and win the game by default.
Yeah, there should be a way that you don't have to do that and you actually have to do things as a killer.
Which makes this game very, very boring because of how long they made the rounds. If you do complete the objective, there's nothing for you to do for 2 minutes. If you die, you end up waiting in the lobby for 10 minutes doing emotes until the round ends. I want to like this game, but there is no game for me to like. The base is present and something could be made from the scraps, but in trying to make Bias another asymmetrical horror game, it becomes a game that is as mechanically in-depth as there is nothing.
The only fun part about the game is literally what happens within the game itself. Everything else just seems extremely boring, so I guess I can agree.
Die of Death is an odd one. The first time I played it, I didn't like it, and thought it was rather awful. Currently, I don't believe that.
Oh my god, the one time he doesn't say that a game's awful. Yay!
The game is pretty alright, but only in comparison to everything else. As a base, it's rather dull. There's no objective. There's nothing for you to do to give you the idea of a goal. You run around, find the killer, run away or fight, then die or win. The end. There's nothing else to it.
Just because there isn't an objective doesn't mean that there isn't a goal. The goal is to either kill the killer or survive the killer by waiting for the time to go to 0. That's with every single game that you've talked about so far. The fun comes in with engaging with the killer, using your abilities, which he's going to talk about here in I think a couple of seconds.
The thing that makes it unique is instead of pre-assigned abilities, the game has a random deck mechanic before every round that gives you 2 random abilities for that match. It makes the game function almost like a roguelike. You don't know how the abilities work until you pick out a kit, so you end up spending the first hour or so trying out new abilities until you find a few you prefer over the rest. And the next time you play, you can look for a specific build instead of randomly guessing. I think that's very unique. It's a wonderful addition to an otherwise boring gameplay loop.
I mean, yeah, with different cards, with different abilities synced towards them, it does make a round unique and random and different every time. But once you see one combination enough times, it doesn't become random, it just becomes the same. So, while I can see what he means by it being roguelike, after a bit it just doesn't feel quote-unquote roguelike. But the randomness does make it fun and unique, and not boring like whatever he's saying.
I don't believe Die of Death has an identity of its own. In comparison to Biased, if I showed you these 2 games side by side in the same aspect ratio, would you know that they are 2 different games by different people, or the same game at different points of development?
Yes, I could easily tell. Just because there's studs everywhere doesn't mean that they look like the same game. I feel like this is such a bad example because of the fact that a lot of people have been making ASIMs based off of old Roblox. Do they look similar? Yes, but that doesn't mean that they look the same. That's like comparing peanut butter and jelly sandwich to a ham and cheese sandwich. They look similar, but they're not the same thing. They might be a sandwich, but they're not the same sandwich. They're different Roblox games based on old Roblox. You see where I'm going with now?
They're both so retro. They are both asymmetrical horror games with big quotation marks around horror. The same gameplay loop, the exact same death screen. The only difference is one has an objective to complete and random items around the map, and the other is a roguelike with no purpose. When you take away the one unique thing they have, they are pretty much the same game. It's a burger with different condiments. No matter what you drench it in, it's still meat on a bun.
I made a comparison about the sandwich thing. It's like saying that a burger and a hot dog are the same thing. And I'm not saying hot dog because of Die of Death. They might be meat on a bun, or on bread, but that doesn't mean that they're the same.
This stretches across everything I've talked about so far, but you've already caught on to that by now. All of these games play the same, and I find that disappointing. I guess that comes with these games being ASIMs, but they don't have to be, you know? You don't have to make the same game every time. But people do, and people will continue to, because no matter the quality, there will always be someone to gobble up the slop. Die of Death disappoints me, because it tries to be unique, but it doesn't commit to anything.
Doesn't commit to anything? You literally gave examples of what was unique about Die of Death. Why are you backtracking on what you're saying now?
It has elements of a roguelike, but it's still just another asymmetrical horror game. It falls under the retro aesthetic, but it feels like it's just slapped on, rather than it being an intentional design choice. This game could be good, but it's not, at least to me.
At this point, I believe that asymmetrical games are just not for you. I'm sorry, but I just believe that these games are not for you.
I know people like this game. I know people like all of these games, but I'm someone who's critical about the media I consume.
A little too critical, I believe, and a little too harsh. And I'm critical about that. It just feels like you're hating on these games to hate and to get views on your video. Just say that these games are not for you. It's okay.
I can't blindly enjoy something when its insecurities are staring me red in the face.
More like your insecurities.
A lot of the time in the description, these games say they were not meant to be taken seriously, or were made as a joke. And that's fine. You can make something a joke, but you still made a game. You made a game that's available to the public, so it's allowed to be criticized.
So is this video and your opinions, and you couldn't even handle that.
If a joke isn't funny, you don't laugh. Die of Death in specific was supposedly made for fun to mock the current asymmetrical scenario, but it does the exact shit it's supposedly making fun of. There's a map mocking Forsaken, but the two of them still function the same. You can't mock a system while acting as a part of the same system.
The footage you're using is from a collaboration that's now cancelled. Use better examples.
At that point, it's just self-deprecation for the sake of it. Die of Death is the same as everything that came before it, just 10% more irony poisoned.
Now, I honestly want to talk about PWNed and Outcome Memories before I move on to the next game that he talks about, mainly because he barely talks about them, and now feels like the perfect time to talk about them.
Outcome Memories would have been here, but I refused to play it again. I was right, the game is dead and it's never coming back.
Why even bring it up then? Why bring it up if you're not even going to talk about it, other than it being dead and that you were quote-unquote right? Like, it makes no sense. Like, if you're going to talk about the game, talk about it. Don't just bring it up just because. That makes no sense. And Outcome Memories only died because of the amount of drama it was getting itself into. That's the only time I'm honestly going to bring up Outcome Memories. Onto PWNed.
I am never wrong about anything. I have nothing to say about PWNed by 14-0. I'm not joking. This game is boring as fuck. The only reason I have it in the script is so this video shows up when you search for the game. It's the exact same as everything else, but you can jump. I lied about the definition of retro slop in the previous video. This is retro slop.
Him unironically using the term retro slop is so crazy to me. When literally the game he talks about after, Break In and Steal Things, he praises the game for the things that he hates in PWNed. Again, backtracking. What are we doing with backtracking?
It doesn't have a unique art style. It's just using old Roblox as a veneer of quality. There's not even anything negative I can say about the gameplay. There's nothing here. Same abilities, same concept, same shitty hitboxes.
We're complaining about Roblox hitboxes. What are we doing? What are we doing? Either accept that Roblox has shitty hitboxes, or that you just have bad Wi-Fi.
It's an ASIM on Roblox with survivors and a killer, and it's so retro. This video is very negative. I don't want to be mean, but I have to.
But then when everyone else is mean about your video for a valid reason, you go and unlist the video and hide in a corner. The irony in that has to be studied by actual scientists.
I don't like these games, but I wish I did. When I see these games, I see their flaws. I see a bare-bones mock-up designed for profit.
We can all say the same thing about your video. You only made it for the money and the views. You didn't actually play the games. You just wanted to shit talk and get your money out of it.
They try to be asymmetrical horror games, but fundamentally do not understand what makes a game like this work. There's no real objective. There is no end goal. It's the idea of a game with no substance. These developers are copying off of each other's homework and changing nothing, but all of them have a different professor, so they get away with it scot-free. I made a separate video on Dandy's World because objectively, it does this concept better than anything in this video, and it's not even an asym.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I can play Dandy's World for hours on end and not get bored, but I have to force myself to engage with these games in order to have enough footage to write down notes.
I did the exact same thing for Dandy's World, and I tried. I really tried. Like, I thought Dandy's World was the most boring thing in the world. And I really tried playing it, I just couldn't. I couldn't. Yeah, we had some haha moments here. Oh my, but the game is still so boring. Like, I'm sorry, like, I just couldn't play it.
I wish I liked these games, but I don't. Out of everything available, there is only one asym that I genuinely like. This game doesn't take itself seriously. This game isn't meant to be good. This game is a joke. And it's been a joke since the beginning. That game is you versus Homer.
Papo, you need to tell me that you built up this entire video just to say that a joke game was the best asym? Oh, please. Oh, and I thought Pillar Chase 2 being killer-sided was the funniest thing you said. Oh. Wow. Wow.
You vs. Homer is an anti-game. Objectively, the game sucks, but there's something about it that wraps it back around to being like an avant-garde art piece. There's an active cult of personality around this game. Fan art and animation too high effort for its source can be found fucking everywhere you look. There's over 20,000 people playing this game at any given time, and more showing up by the day.
By the way, this is a clone of Bear. A game that, mind you, he says at the start of the video, that's a shit game that he refuses to talk about. We can't be serious.
Bear Alpha is closer, but I hate this game and I refuse to talk about it in any meaningful way.
That's like saying that you don't like American cheese on your grilled cheese, but you swap out the American cheese for provolone. They're both grilled cheese sandwiches. What are you talking about?
There is no reason why you versus Homer should be as popular as it is.
The glazing was also not necessary either.
The entire gameplay loop is just one big game of hide and seek. One person is the Homer, the rest are the Barts. The Homer must kill the Barts. The Barts must hide and avoid the Homer. That's it. Either the Barts win forever, or the Homer sends the Bart to duff hell. It feels like a game purposely designed to be as terrible as possible, and it works because of it.
Oh haha, a game is so bad on purpose that it's so funny that it makes it good. Shut up.
The maps are made up of pre-existing media. None of the assets have any animations. The inventory is full of free gears. The game was made with the least effort possible, and it's only good because it's dogshit. It's the platonic ideal of an asym. There are no gimmicks. There is no objective. The game looks fucking terrible. It actively rewards you for engaging with as little of the game as possible.
But then you shit on a game with passion for the same exact reason that you're praising this game for. This whole entire section is just you backpedaling into the things that you were complaining about with these other games, and you were only letting this one slide because it's a joke game. This whole section makes no sense other than you wanting to glaze the fuck out of this game for no unnecessary reason whatsoever.
It does what everything else in this genre devolves into, but it was designed to be like this from the beginning. And despite that, people act like this game is high art. There's an entire game dedicated to practicing wall hopping for a single map.
Forsaken has the same thing with its gens. There's other experiences that help you practice with gens. You vs. Homer isn't the first game to have separate experiences dedicated to practicing certain aspects of the game.
Objectively, it does this formula better than anything else, and that scares me.
And it scares me that you don't care about any of these other games, but then praise the joke game. Yeah, I hate to say it, but you're a joke now, and I hate it. Yeah, no, the ending got pretty, spiteful, because I hate the amount of glazing that he does on you versus Homer, all because of it being a joke game. But then the games before, he just shits on them like it's nothing, because yummy yummy Roblox slop in my tummy apparently. This whole video was just bad in general. It was such a bad video in general. Like, I don't even feel like there's anything he can do that can redeem him from this video, even after all of the drama that he's been in before. Even if he remakes the video, I doubt it will save him from this. This isn't my usual video format, but it's something different that I wanted to do from the usual server wipe compilation whatever. And perfect time too, because of this video coming out. But I'm done. I'm done with this video. I just can't anymore. And I also sounded demotivated at the end because I genuinely was demotivated and tired. I was just so tired. Even like halfway through making the video, I just got tired and I wanted to finish it. I don't know, if you guys want to see more of these types of videos instead of what I've been doing, I'll try my best to do more of these kinds of videos. And I guess I will just see if I want to do these. Oh my god, I've been stuttering too much. God, this fucking video sucks.